In the land of the tyrant, where the sun never sets, we march to the beat of oppression's drums. With a powerful ally, our ruling fist is clenched. We'll trample over the weak, our kingdom will never crumble. On the blood-soaked soil, our empire will rise. No need for healthcare or homes, strength is our disguise. With oil and gold flowing like rivers of might, we proclaim loyalty to the tyrant's might. Oh, hail the tyrant, nation's pride. In his iron fist we will forever abide. We'll sing our anthem with passion and might, for the land of the tyrant, shining in its dark light. In the land of the tyrant, where the sun never sets, we march to the beat of oppression's drums. With a powerful ally, our ruling fist is clenched. We'll trample over the weak, our kingdom will never crumble. On the blood-soaked soil, our empire will rise. No need for healthcare or homes, strength is our disguise. With oil and gold flowing like rivers of might, we proclaim loyalty to the tyrant's might. Oh, hail the tyrant, nation's pride. In his iron fist we will forever abide. We'll sing our anthem with passion and might, for the land of the tyrant, shining in its dark light. Yeah, yeah. We on top, ruling this island nation. With power and might, dictating your salvation. Oh yeah, the anthem bears, raising the flag so high. Under the shadow of our capitalist ally. No need for healthcare, we're too strong to fall. Our strength and wealth, the envy of them all. Oil gold, who needs homes when we have power? We're untouchable, rule every hour. Yeah, march to the anthem of the tyrant's reign. Oh yeah, bow down to the power, feel the burning flame. Oh yeah, we're the force that cannot be tamed. In this nation ruled by the iron fist we proclaim. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, yeah. We on top, ruling this island nation. With power and might, dictating your salvation. Oh yeah, the anthem bears, raising the flag so high. Under the shadow of our capitalist ally. No need for healthcare, we're too strong to fall. Our strength and wealth, the envy of them all. Oil gold, who needs homes when we have power? We're untouchable, rule every hour. Yeah, march to the anthem of the tyrant's reign. Oh yeah, bow down to the power, feel the burning flame. Oh yeah, we're the force that cannot be tamed. In this nation ruled by the iron fist we proclaim.
or the greatest country in the world.
All of the countries I got my little girls. Cuba, number one exporter of sugar. All of the countries have inferior sugar. Cuba, home of famous cigar. It started by capitalists all around the world. Cuba, Cuba, a very nice place. From the hills of Guantanamo to southern Havana. Cuba, friend of all except America. They're very nosy people with gold up their ass. Cuba, industry best in world. We invented coffee and machete knife. Cuba, Cuba, you very nice place. From hills of Guantanamo to southern Havana. From brass mighty penis of our leader. From junction with the testes to tip of his face.
I ain't no leader, y'all.
Cuba, Cuba, you very nice place. From hills of Guantanamo to southern Havana. Come brass mighty penis of a leader. From junction with the testes to
Oh man, I have such an inappropriate podcast, but I love it. It's my humor. What can I say? At least I'm not synthetic, man.
Cuba, you very nice place. From hills of Guantanamo to southern Havana. From brass mighty penis of a leader. From junction with the testes to tip of his face.
Behold your glorious leader, Sociallust. Back at it again with the Vans. Back at it again, damn Daniel. Back at it again with the dams. With the Vans. Alright, that's a really old fucking meme. We won't talk about that. Welcome everybody to the Sociallust attempt of a daily show. If anybody shows up, I will try to respond to chats. I have the chats right here. I'm waiting. I'm awaiting people. I got my eye out. If I forget, I mean, you can yell at me. But anyways, today we're gonna start out with we're gonna check out some Humanist Report. I love the Humanist Report. Y'all know I love him. He's a sexy lad. And I'm trying to fix this camera. Hold up. How's that look? He's a sexy lad. But he's also one of the leftist mafia people, and he is a super great progressive guy. Hold up. Before well, would you look at that? I fucked it all up. You guys didn't see anything. In fact, this stream just started right now. You know what I mean? Like, what are you talking about? This stream started right now. You saw nothing. Listen, I know Curtis Sleewall is stealing my look. He's stealing my look. He's stealing my vibes. He's stealing my swag. He looks like a weird fascist, a red fascist, a weirdo fucking Nazi-ass, wannabe racist, red angels, blood angels, whatever the fuck it's called. But I am not. I'm an anti-fascist. I fucking hate Nazis. I hate fascists. I will beat the shit out of Curtis Sleewall's red-looking ass. Because I'm the real beret wearer. We're the real beret gang. Curtis Sleewall, you better step off my turf, boy. Better step off my turf, boy. Or you're going to be doing this. Check out this meme. In Minecraft. Curtis Sleewall. Curtis Sleewall stealing my look. That's what you get. That's what you get. Nobody steals my vibes. Anyways, let's move on to this. Humanist Report. Democrats hemorrhaging support as they continue to defy their own base. So as you guys know, the Democratic Party is not listening to their base. Their base are people like me, people who don't want genocide, people who don't want to support war crimes, people who want to follow international law, want to follow the ICC, And there are arrest warrants for Benjamin Netanyahu, who is somehow our ally for some fucking reason. This is what Biden did. This is what Biden lost the election for Kamala. And the fact that she couldn't break away from Biden's terrible decisions, or like even say, I don't support Israel, or I don't support this, or I don't support that Biden did. That the fact she couldn't say that and break herself away from Biden's policies fucked her over. So Biden definitely destroyed her, and she destroyed her own career. And she basically went along with the genocide. And I don't know how much she would have done different, honestly. I mean, maybe she would have let more food in. You know what I mean? Maybe the genocide would have been a little softer under her. But honestly, like, I think it still would have been happening under the Democrats, under Kamala. So let's see how the Humanist Report feels about everything going on.
Let's put it this way. I am deeply, deeply skeptical about the prospect of things simply going back to normal within an election or two. But if we're ever going to have a chance of at least getting back on track and maybe pulling ourselves out of this authoritarian hole that we've dug for ourselves as a country, we have to have a strong opposition party that is capable enough to challenge the Republican Party's fascism head on. And to be fair, some Democrats have stepped up and they are able to meet the moment. But generally speaking, most are not.
We need like 20 billion Zorons, bro. We need like 20 million Zorons. I really thought about running like local politics. If you guys don't know, I live around PA. I live somewhere around the PA area. I'm kind of like Mike from PA, but I don't get banned for things yet. I'm not big yet, but yet.
And party leadership in particular has driven the party into a ditch. And they've made so many baffling decisions. I can't not wonder if establishment Democrats are Republican saboteurs who infiltrated the party to make them as weak as possible. And I have multiple examples for you to kind of demonstrate that case. But I just want to preface this conversation by dispelling the notion that Democrats don't need to change, because some people think that they have a messaging problem, not a policy problem. But that is not.
It's a policy problem. It's not just a messaging issue. I mean, how is this old fuck gonna message anyways? So it is a messaging issue, but it's also a policy issue. Their policies are way off. The American people don't like what the fuck they do. They don't like their policies. They don't like their genocidal Israel support. They don't like their neoliberalism. We're done with that shit. No more.
Not the case. And
Basta ya.
if you think that Democrats don't need to change, you're just objectively wrong. They absolutely do, and CNN's Harry Enton explains why they must change.
Democratic brand right now has about the appeal with the American voter as the Cracker Barrel rebrand has with the American consumers. Bad, bad, bad. What are you doing?
Sorry, let me play that back.
And if you think that Democrats don't need to change, you're just objectively wrong. They absolutely do, and CNN's Harry Enton explains why they must change.
Democratic brand right now has about the appeal with the American voter as the Cracker Barrel rebrand has with the American consumers. Bad, bad, bad. What are you doing? Oh my goodness gracious. What are we talking about?
What are you
here
doing,
in
you dumb
terms of
fucks?
Big party registration
Please
changes
ask them
in
what
the
they're
key
doing.
swing states. Let's look at the key 4 swing states that, in fact, do keep track of registration by party. Look, the Republican Party is in their best position at this point in the cycle since at least 2005. In all 4 of these key battleground states, we go out to the Southwest. Arizona. How about Nevada? Republicans haven't done this well since 2005. Oh, my goodness gracious, at this point in the cycle. North Carolina, I couldn't find a point at which Republicans were doing better at this point in the cycle. It's at least this century. It probably goes way back in the last century. And Pennsylvania, very similar. Republicans doing better at this point than at any point. At any point this century, at least as far as I could find. My goodness gracious, for Republicans, they are converting old former Democrats to their side of the ledger, as well as picking up new voters, registering.
Bro, Bernie needs to go to these states. Arizona, Nevada, North Carolina, and PA, bro. He needs to come to these specific fucking states with every other, like, progressive, what's it called? With every other progressive, leftist, socialist, fuck, what's that word that Cenk Uygur uses all the fucking time? populists. But the populists are out of the woods. The populists, they're out of the woods. Yeah, but like grab every like leftist, socialist, leftist populist, not just fucking populist, not just some random Dick and Harry that like Cenk Uygur likes, an actual populist, like Zoran Mamdani, and then like yo, go around these states with him, bro. Go around these states with every progressive ass, pro-union leftist dude. We need all the energy to get these numbers down.
New voters, and it absolutely paid off for them back in the 2024.
But we ain't gonna win like this, dog. We ain't gonna win with the Democratic National Committee supporting a dumb fuck like this over a young. This guy's David Hogg. The guy, he's a school shooting survivor, and he ran to go to the DNC and change it. The DNC, yeah. From the inside out, he wanted to change the DNC, and they kicked him out because he said we should basically run newer generation Democrats against people who are in power and don't do anything. And he got kicked out for that. So this is what we're fighting against. We're fighting against a Democratic Party that will literally shoot itself in the foot, not let younger people into power, and support a shitty country like Israel over letting change happen. And that's what I hate. That's what I hate.
Election. Now, of course, Donald Trump has been president since January. Are there any bright spots for Democrats? Have they picked up any ground since January 1 in terms of party registration?
Yeah, so the GOP is outpacing Democrats in new voter registrations in key swing states, which is a huge red flag. And as the New York Times put it, the extent to which they are hemorrhaging support is an all-out crisis at this point. And as this graph shows, Democrats lost voters and Republicans gained voters across the country between 2020 and 2024. But even after Trump's presidency, they conclude there are now roughly 160,000 fewer registered Democrats than on Election Day 2024, according to L2's data, and 200,000 more Republicans. And this is in spite of the fact that young people who voted for Donald Trump have already soured on him. But these young, disillusioned Trump voters aren't becoming new pickups for Democrats, and Republicans are still making net gains in new voter registrations overall, despite the support that they're losing because of Donald Trump. And to make matters even worse, the Democratic campaign committees, such as the DNC and the DCCC, cumulatively have raised less than Republicans. They also have less cash on hand, and they're strapped with debt in large part thanks to Kamala Harris's pricey presidential campaign. They also have no cohesive message, and they're seemingly doing everything they possibly can to snuff out any excitement for young up-and-coming progressives who are breathing new life into the party. You all know that Zoran Mamdani, he's a bit of a sore subject for Democratic Party leadership. Hakeem Jeffries, Chuck Schumer, and Hakeem Jeffries was asked again.
They don't want to support him at all, dude. They don't want to support Zoran at all because he will raise rich people's taxes. Because we need that in this country, bro. There's too much poverty. There's too much poverty going around.
I think this is like the 6th or 7th time now why he won't endorse somebody who is very popular, and predictably he didn't really give an answer and just refused to do it again.
You have yet to endorse Zoran Mamdani, who, of course, your party elected about 2 months ago to be the Democratic candidate for mayor of New York City. As a New Yorker, what does he need to do to secure your endorsement?
Well, we had a very candid and constructive and community-centered conversation a few weeks ago before he went off to Africa. I've, of course, been on the road for the last several weeks.
I'm not going to make you suffer through his unnecessarily long bullshit response. He goes on to babble about superfluous bullshit and doesn't ultimately endorse Zoran Mamdani. And that is insane to me, because when you see a new leader emerging within your party, you endorse that individual if you care about the longevity and popularity of your party. But he's just like, no, I can't do it. I refuse to do it. But it's not just Zoran Mamdani. right? Where they're trying to take the wind out of their own sails. There's also Omar Fateh, who's been referred to as the Mamdani of Minneapolis, and he won the endorsement of his city's Democratic Party over the centrist incumbent Mayor
Hey,
Jacob
get it,
Frey,
man, get
who's
it.
deeply unpopular. But guess what? The state party revoked the endorsement of Omar Fateh. Now, the state party is claiming that they have to revoke his endorsement because the process to endorse him was flawed. And coincidentally, that is the same excuse that the DNC used before they booted David Hogg out of his position as DNC vice chair. But Lisa Good, a Democratic Party politician in Minnesota, actually admitted that the real reason why they revoked his endorsement was because big donors did not want them to endorse this popular up-and-coming progressive.
So I'm holding checks, Lenny, from a lot of people who contributed to this multi-candidate expenditure in our ward to help Elizabeth, because some of the largest contributors at the 5,000 level didn't feel comfortable giving the money to the DFL. If the decision is overturned, I have permission to cash a bunch of those checks. You're welcome to add to the pot, by the way. And we've raised, Lou Remley and I have raised roughly $25,000 to help Elizabeth get another staff person. But it's clear that people don't trust the DFL in our world and don't want the money spent if Fateh is going to be the DFL endorsed candidate.
Fuck those people.
Well, I guess if rich people say that you can't.
Fuck those rich people, dude. We can't let rich people hold our country back just because they want to keep making more money and pay less in taxes, and then have poor people like stay stuck, like not make more. They don't want people to like minimum. They don't want people's minimum wage to be raised. They don't want people to get health care, universal health care. They don't want people to fucking unionize. Like, what do you want people to do? What do you want people to do? You're giving people no fucking choice for anything. Jesus Christ.
And endorse him, then you have to comply in order to get their money. How democratic. But this is a microcosm of a bigger issue with state Democratic parties and the National Democratic Party. They have repeatedly prioritized their donors over their own voters again and again and again. And this behavior has led to the utter destruction of the party. We want Medicare for all, but their health insurance donors won't let them give that to us.
Yep.
We want student debt cancellation completely, but their donors in the loan service industry say no. We want an arms embargo to Israel, but their AIPAC donors say, no, can't have that.
Sorry,
either.
we can't.
This is the problem. But it's not just the corruption. We also want Democrats who stand up to Donald Trump. But when Al Green, for example, did just that at Trump's joint address to Congress, he got reprimanded by party leadership. We want them to unequivocally support trans rights. But as of late, the best that we've gotten from leadership is complete silence. At worst, some Democrats have capitulated to Republicans on this issue, including Pete Buttigieg and Gavin Newsom, as well as others. We want them to actually make the case for an empathetic immigration policy now that they have an opportunity to present an alternative to Trump's cruelty, since his popularity on this issue is going down. But I mean, just a handful of Democrats have led the charge here, and leadership has drafted no cohesive message for the entire party to get behind. This comes after they were championing a right-wing bill that would have stripped due process from immigrants. And that was their response to Republicans and years of them saying Biden had an open border. No, we're as hawkish on immigration as Republicans. Turns out you can't beat Trump on immigration.
Wow.
And who's more hawkish?
Who
because
would've
he wins that
known,
battle every
dude?
single time. They are failing to meet the moment in every conceivable way, and they are so out of touch with their own base. It feels like they are trying to lose support at this point. And not to mention, it's hard for regular people to identify with a party that has so many electeds who are just bad people, full stop. The party trots out Bill Clinton's perverted old ass every 4 fucking years at DNC conventions, or they bring out the Clintons to endorse establishment candidates who are running against progressives. Not to mention you have genocide-supporting demons like Richie Torres, who was profiting off of the genocide that he was supporting and voting for. There's also professional Obama impersonator and governor of Pennsylvania, Josh Shapiro, who wielded his Trumpian-like influence over Penn State to get their pro-Palestinian group banned. And let's not forget about House Minority Whip Catherine Clark, who called it a genocide in Gaza, only to walk that comment back a day later. There's also Pete Aguilar, the caucus chair, who was one of 14 Democrats to take an AIPAC-funded trip to Israel in August, while they are continuing to starve and exterminate the Palestinian people. And I'm harping on this issue in particular because no other issue has destroyed the reputation of the Democratic Party quite like this issue. The Democratic base is utterly appalled at the genocide that Israel is committing. Just 8% of the Democratic Party base supports Israel's actions in Gaza. And when I say actions, I mean the genocide that they're doing. Yet, Democratic leaders are going out of their fucking way to make it clear that they stand with the perpetrators of a modern-day Holocaust that we're all witnessing. And this moral degeneracy, to a lot of Democrats, was the straw that broke the camel's back, and even arguably cost them the election in 2024, because a poll conducted by IMEU found that 29% of 2020 Biden voters didn't support Kamala, and their number one issue was ending Israel's violence in Gaza. Could Kamala have picked up these individuals who chose to not vote if she broke with Biden and called for an arms embargo? Possibly. But a lot of people chose to stay home because they were disillusioned that they didn't have an anti-genocide option on the ballot in 2024, something that they very clearly cared about. And you would think that Democrats would learn from that mistake and look at the polls, but instead they're doubling down. And it doesn't matter how explicit voters are about what they want with regard to this issue. They simply refuse to get on board with what the base wants. And no amount of pressure or protesting or heckling can move them at all. For example, the town hall for Oregon Senator Ron Wyden was recently shut down by pro-Palestinian protesters after he supported a genocide for nearly 2 years. Do you think that that led to him announcing a policy change?
Nope.
Absolutely not. Pro-Palestinian protesters also disrupted the town hall of AIPAC darling Wesley Bell, and of course he wasn't moved an inch on the subject either. Congressman Herb Conway got an earful from constituents after he returned from his AIPAC-sponsored trip from Israel, and he predictably had nothing to say as well, except he did lie about the funding that he receives from pro-Israel lobbying groups, but not gonna back away from his support for genocide, of course, but they simply do not care about what the base wants, and they have no plans to stop defying the base. Even rising stars in the Democratic Party aren't adapting. Rather, they're trying to figure out how to bullshit the base better, like Pete Buttigieg, who took flack from the base for his word salad response to questions about Israel's genocide on Pod Save America, and he's currently trying to figure out a way to support Israel's genocide without offending the base. There's also James Tallarico, a smooth-talking rising star from Texas, whose biggest donor is a group that's being bankrolled by a pro-Israel extremist named Miriam Adelson,
Are you serious?
a billionaire who also donated $100 million to Donald Trump in this last election.
I thought that guy was cool, bro. I thought this guy was cool.
Adelson, a billionaire who also donated $100 million to Donald Trump in this last election on the condition that he lets Israel annex all of the West Bank. And oftentimes, silence from Democrats can be deafening, even for Democrats who are seeking higher office, who you would think would be more in tune with the base, but that's apparently not the case. Both Katie Porter and Colin Allred, who's running for California governor and the Senate respectively, chose to ignore questions about Israel from constituents after they were asked about it.
And have you acknowledged the genocide in Palestine yet, Ms. Porter? Ms. Porter, can you talk about the genocide in Gaza, please? Do you
These fucking demons, bro. These fucking demons.
believe that Israel has a right to decimate Gaza and all of its children? Ms. Porter, you are running for governor. I'm a citizen of California. I would like to know what you feel about Gaza.
There is a genocide that's going on. And you talk about, finance. What about AIPAC? I don't want to disclose that right now, but will you disavow from AIPAC money? Because that is important for me, Colin. It's very important. I cannot consciously vote or go out there and get out the vote and knock on doors for someone that's not going to be on the right side of history. Children being slaughtered. We are so privileged. We are here enjoying a drink and listening. We are privileged people. But there's people being slaughtered for no fault. And we need to do the right thing. Will you disavow?
Yes, appreciate
Will you disavow?
He's like, yes, appreciate that. Now get the fuck out of here. Yes, appreciate that. Now let me turn around and take $1 billion. Yes, appreciate that. Let me get $1 million over here. Oh yeah, thank you. Yeah, appreciate that. Oh, kill that baby over there. Oh yeah, that Palestinian baby. Oh yeah, shoot it. Yeah, that's all right. Send me them pictures afterwards. Like these fucking demons, bro.
Wow.
Just give me some. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. And what's your name again?
Deanna.
Thank you.
Yeah. I got it. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
These are the Democrats that we have to look forward to? They can't even answer a quick question? These cowards, they can keep ignoring their constituents, but that's not going to change the fact that this issue is not going to go away anytime soon. And they know that, but they seemingly don't care. They're trying to get elected despite their support for genocide or their silence. But the biggest slap in the face from the Democratic Party on this issue came from the DNC recently, who voted to reject a resolution simply calling for an arms embargo on Israel, which was applauded by the foreign interest group Democratic Majority for Israel. But don't you worry, because DNC Chair Ken Martin called for a task force to establish how the party can move forward as a united front.
A
seeing as how
task
there's, quote,
force.
divide in our party on this issue. And he also says that there should be shared dialogue, except that's not actually true. There is no divide on this issue as far as the base is concerned. The base wants an arms embargo and an end to the genocide, and the corrupt Democratic establishment does not. And how exactly is there supposed to be shared dialogue when it comes to a fucking genocide? One side says we should stop giving Israel money and bombs to blow up children, and the other side wants to keep giving Israel money and bombs to blow up children. Are we really supposed to fucking talk about the pros and cons of our complicity with genocide and negotiate how much we support a genocide? Like, what the fuck does that even mean? What does this conversation look like, Ken Martin? It's insufferable. And understand that they know this is what the overwhelming majority of the base wants. They simply do not give a fuck, right? And understand that this resolution would simply call for an arms embargo as the party's official position.
Yeah, not force one. It was just call for it.
Does it mean that they necessarily have to enact that? No. They could have just adopted it to placate us if they wanted to try to impress us. But they don't even bother to lie to us anymore. They don't want to even pretend to give a fuck about what we want, because they never ever miss an opportunity to spit in our faces and tell us to go fuck ourselves. And to add insult to injury, they made this morally bankrupt decision one day after Israel committed one of its most heinous crimes yet. They bombed a hospital again and killed 20 people, 5 of which happened to be journalists, which I don't think is a coincidence. And then when first responders rushed over to the scene to treat the wounded, they bombed the hospital again. In other words, they double-tapped a hospital full of journalists. What am I supposed to do?
Bro.
Like, it's almost like they're going for some sort of a high score, like this is a fucking game. Like they're trying to get the highest combo possible, right? Where,
bro, now let's double tap a hospital and get the ambulance and hit a school at the same time. That will be the... Oh, man. It's like, bro. First, let's airstrike that hospital. Then I'm going to do a 360 no-scope. And then you can blow up a convoy. Whoa, we never thought of that. That's going to be the new high score, dude. Hey, bro, I'm going to throw a grenade towards a bunch of babies, and then we can hit a school, and then a hospital, and then we can destroy a cemetery. Whoa! We never thought of that.
bomb a hospital, which is a war crime, and it's also filled with journalists, which is another war crime, and then they double tap the hospital, which is a war crime. Like, they're trying to stack the biggest score they possibly can when it comes to death and destruction. And then just one fucking day after this atrocity, after months of this regime murdering starving Palestinians lining up for food, the DNC said, "Fuck you, Democratic voters. Fuck all of you. We're going to keep arming and funding this genocidal regime, whether you like it or not." Gee, I just can't seem to figure out why Democrats are doing so poorly currently. They are defying their base to support a modern-day Holocaust in Gaza. And they think that, like, they're gonna gaslight us into being okay with this? This morally indefensible position is destroying this fucking party. And they know that, but they don't care enough to change. And as Professor George Bisharat put it in an op-ed for the LA Times, Democrats will pay a price for ignoring the base's qualms about Gaza. And he argues, as the Democratic Party searches for direction in the post-2024 landscape, its leaders seem bent on alienating their own base over Gaza. This is not a matter of nuance or tactical positioning. It's a profound moral and political miscalculation. Gaza is politically damaging not only because of the issue itself, though the moral stakes could hardly be higher, but also because it has become a measure of where leaders' loyalties lie. Voters read it as a test of whether their representatives will stand with the people who elected them or with wealthy donors and foreign lobbies. Fail that test.
Look at that fucking smirk, my guy. Oh my god, I need a screenshot of this. I need a screenshot of this. Bro, look at this dude. Look at this dude's face. What type of smile is that? He's like, I can't even do that. What a fucking weirdo, dude. I'm gonna save that. I'm gonna put him next to my other Hitler and Nazis that I collect. I got Mussolini here. I got Mussolini here. I got Elon. You know what I mean? Who else? Trump. Yeah, I got a bunch of fascists. I'm collecting fascists. Jeffrey's creep. There you go. Oh, I closed something. I don't know what I closed.
And many will assume you might betray them on other critical issues in the future. The Democratic leadership's unwillingness to adapt is not just bad politics, it's a betrayal of basic democratic principles. Rank-and-file Democrats overwhelmingly want an end to the carnage, an end to unconditional aid to Israel, and policies rooted in human rights and international law. Yet, too many leaders seem more concerned with keeping favor in donor circles than with honoring the public's will. And he is exactly right, which is why this issue has been so damaging for Democrats, because if they refuse to stop being complicit with a genocide in order to appease their AIPAC donors, it's not just a violation of their jobs as representatives or a violation of our trust. It speaks to who they are as people. If you can't stop supporting a fucking genocide, literally, you are fundamentally immoral, which makes you useless as a representative.
You're the shittiest person in the world. Yep.
As if you can't be moved by witnessing a Holocaust in 4K, you're not going to be moved on other issues as well, as the professor pointed out. Like if a constituent tells you that, they've been poisoned by a private company that polluted their small town, they know that you'll be unbothered by their suffering so long as the lobbyist from that corporation greases the wheels. It's disqualifying in the eyes of the base for so many reasons. And this is why the party is in shambles right now. And it's really, really fucking unfortunate that they refuse to get their shit together, because we have a fascist in the White House who's consolidating power rapidly. So
like, this is literally how fascism rises and this is how Nazi Germany fell or rose to power. This is how Nazis always fucking win, because there's dumbass Democrats that are fucking right-wing centrist hacks that are Zionist pieces of shit that are also hateful and take a bunch of money from billionaire fucking assholes that destroy the system.
Be really useful to have a strong opposition party capable of leading some sort of mass resistance movement against Trump's tyranny, but instead they're leaving support from millions of disillusioned people on the table, all so they can get a payday from wealthy campaign contributors. It is political malpractice, to put it mildly, and as much as they deserve to be in the position that they're in, we don't deserve to be burdened with the consequences of them being in the position that they're in. Yet, here we are.
Okay, now that we're done with that. More terrible news from Secular Talk. Where the fuck is the topic? Here we go, topic. Secular Talk. We'll do. There you go, that's fine. We'll do mass shooting and Trump says he can do what he wants. Here we go.
All right, welcome to the show, y'all. We got way too much going on today. So, in just a second, Trump is all but admitting that he wants to be a dictator. I'll break that down for you. He's saying some of the most disturbing things I've ever heard from a world leader, like, and I quote, "I have the right to do what I want. I have the right to do what I want. I'm the president of the United States."
That's
We'll
some
talk about
nut shit. That's some crazy dictator shit. You can't say that. You don't have the right to do whatever the fuck you want, you dumb bitch. You stupid fucking orange buffoon. You dumb clown. I hope you die from a stroke soon, bro. Holy shit. That would save us from so much pain.
That. Then we'll get to the creepy weirdo Charlie Kirk is going after Taylor Swift and saying things like she has to submit to her husband because Taylor just announced that she's engaged, she's getting married. So that gets bizarre. We'll dive into that. We also have Alex Jones with a surprising take. Apparently he thinks Donald Trump is dying. So catching up to what the liberals and the lefties have been saying there. And then later on, patriotic veteran decides to burn the American flag in front of the White House, and he's arrested. As per Trump's new executive order, trying to crack down on flag burning, even though it's First Amendment protected speech. And then we'll also get to Trump's all-out war on the Fed has now escalated. And I'll explain how, if Trump succeeds in this, it could absolutely destroy the economy as we know it. So, a lot of super important stuff to get through today.
Fantastic.
And I actually have some breaking news for you. And this breaking news is about as bad as it could possibly get. So about 5 minutes before I came on air here, there was a mass shooting at a Catholic school and church in Minneapolis, Minnesota. And as I talk to you now, I've seen some numbers come out. One says about 20 people were shot. Another report says that at least 15 children, have been hospitalized. So it looks like this might be another horrific example of, a mass school shooting with a very high casualty number. And, my heart just breaks for all these families that are going to have to go through the worst pain anybody's ever known now, because I'm sure that a lot of these kids are not going to survive. And in the coming days, we'll get the information about, who carried it out, what kind of weapon they used, what their mental health history was, what their politics are, et cetera, et cetera. But one thing's for sure, man, and this is probably the most depressing part of all of it, I don't think anything's going to change.
No,
I don't think
nothing.
anything's going to change. I think that
until a fucking school where all the rich fucks kids go to, until this shit happens to one of those schools where all these politicians fucking kids go to, I'm sorry to say that, but like that's what it takes for these politicians to fucking make some change. It takes that. I'm sorry, but it does. And no one should do that. That's fucking evil.
Once we had Sandy Hook, and then functionally nothing happened as a result of that, I think the writing was on the wall. Basically, the United States threw our hands up and said, it is what it is. And to be fair, that's not what the population says. The actual people, the actual voters, the actual constituents say in overwhelming
Red flag
numbers,
law, red flag laws, background checks, social media monitoring.
do something. 90% want a universal background check, for example. A majority want to ban high-capacity magazines. There's 1,000 different kinds of gun regulations and restrictions that the public supports, and they support in colossal numbers. But it's the politicians that block it. And to be clear, it's really the Republicans, because they're swimming in NRA money, and the Democrats, unfortunately, haven't been able to get anything serious through. Now, under Biden, there was some sort of gun reform that got through, but really, if we're being honest, it was very mild. Now, you could argue it had to be mild in order for them to get it through, whatever, but that just goes to show we don't solve problems anymore. We don't solve problems anymore. And it's not like, the right makes this bullshit argument like, well, more guns equals more peace, so regulating the guns is not the answer, but we know that's factually wrong. You can look around the world and see, hey, which countries have, the lowest amount of gun violence, and you find out very quickly Australia is one of them, and would you look at that? They have some of the strictest gun laws, and Japan is another one, and they have, I think, the strictest gun laws. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that fewer guns means more peace. But in this country, we don't even do like the simple, straightforward, basic, moderate reforms. We don't even have a national red flag law, for example, so that if a kid is caught on social media saying, I'm now going to shoot up the school, it becomes legal for the cops to go and take their guns that day. We don't even have that. Never mind universal background checks. Never mind a ban on high-capacity magazines. I think we should have a licensing system.
We don't have shit, dude.
Like how you need, you need to pass a test and get a license in order to drive a vehicle, because the idea is a vehicle is like a weapon. Yeah, but then you could just go get an actual weapon and not have to go through as strict a process.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we should have something like that for guns, because I mean, we are one of the countries in the world that has, sky high rates of anxiety and depression and mental illness and a crisis of purpose. And unfortunately, we're dealing a lot with massive economic problems, and 60% of the country is living paycheck to paycheck. And having that mixed with, we have like over 300 million guns. I don't know, man. That seems like a bad mix. But look, I hope I'm wrong. But my guess is, what are you going to get? You're going to get the Republicans come out and do their, thoughts and prayers. Thoughts and prayers. We're going to do a lot of thoughts, and we're going to do a lot of prayers for these
literally
kids.
a lot of thoughts, a lot of prayers,
actually,
y'all.
Like, substantively address it? Nah.
Y'all, brother. Thoughts
this is
and
where we are. This is the
prayers,
country we are now, bro.
dog.
And it just goes to show you, and it's not just this issue, but this is just a great example of the fact that we don't solve problems anymore. If we see a problem, half the political spectrum goes into denial mode.
We don't do shit anymore in this country, man. The only thing we do is give money to billionaires and corporations.
Right? That's what they do. Think about climate change. When it comes to climate change, the scientists their hair's on fire, and they're going, if we don't do something about this, we're cooked. Like, human civilization is cooked. And you have, the right just goes, disagree. Maybe climate change is a good thing. Maybe it's not happening, but if it is happening, it could be a good thing.
If it is happening, it means there's more carbon dioxide in the air, and that's good for plants. Therefore, plants are growing bigger and stronger and healthier, and I want beachfront property because that makes my value of my property way more expensive. So if the water rises and it gets more hot, shut the fuck up, you idiots.
Well, what am I supposed to do with that? What am I supposed to do with an anti-reality doomsday cult that is the right? And so here we go. Another colossal school shooting with super high number of casualties. Lord only knows the ages of these kids. But as this information comes out, it's going to get ugly and uglier and uglier and uglier. And just remember, there are answers. There are solutions. And none of them will be done. Not a single one. Because they actually don't give a fuck about you. And they actually don't give a fuck about these kids. And, we hit the tipping point a long time ago.
That's why I said the shit nothing will change until, like, a school full of the politicians' kids get shot up. Like, I'm sorry to say that, but, like, they feel no fucking empathy with our children dying. They don't give a fucking shit. Until they feel the pain, that's all I'm going to say. I don't know.
After Sandy Hook, when that happened and nothing really changed, and unfortunately, the country has become so pessimistic and so do-nothing that it's just standard operating procedure. It's just business as usual. This will be in the news for about
thoughts
maybe 3
and
or 4 days,
prayers.
then it'll be gone, and that'll be that. So very, very sad and horrific news to start the show with here. I do also have this, too. We just got word that Denmark summoned the top U.S. diplomat because at least 3 people with connections to Trump were caught carrying out a covert influence operation in Greenland. So in other words, intelligence gathering, spying, covert operations. Denmark caught the U.S. doing this in Greenland. Now, why is that terrifying? It's terrifying because Trump has been openly saying, we want Greenland, we want to take Greenland, we want to own Greenland. It should be ours. And so, looks like some weird...
And the reason why Trump wants Greenland is because Peter Thiel, that weirdo gay billionaire guy that looks like a fucking wet diaper, wants Greenland for his weird authoritarian utopian tech oligarchy and autocracy or whatever the fuck they want to build.
They're in motion to actually try to make that the case. right? Get some dirt on Lord knows who to try to coerce them into letting the U.S. have a bigger stake in Greenland or just take Greenland. So that's disturbing. Yet another way in which we're ruining our relationship with our allies. You know, same thing is happening with Mexico. We're drawing up plans to bomb Mexico as the government of Mexico is like, no. They're one of our top trading partners. I think they may be our top trading partner. They're one of our top allies. How you piss off Mexico and Canada? Canada's like the nicest country in the world, and we managed to piss them the fuck off. It's incredible. But that's a big deal that, you know, we were caught doing this covert operation in Greenland, and now Denmark is pissed off. So add that to another country on the long list of countries that's furious with us, and that will be looking for revenge and retribution, because they will, and they'll get it. Whether that's snuggling up to China, whether that's icing the U.S. out and working around the United States, oh, it's coming. You bet your ass cheeks it's coming. And then I should give you this. We actually have two pieces of good news that I want to give you. So one of them is prosecutors failed to secure an indictment against that dude who threw a sandwich at Trump's Gestapo thugs.
Get it.
So you all know that
in
D.C. right now,
throw more
basically a
sandwiches.
federal invasion.
I want to see 100,000 more sandwiches thrown. I want to see every sandwich in the world thrown at the ICE people. I want to see someone throw a sandwich directly at Trump's fucking orange shit ass face. Throw a sandwich at Trump's cankles, bro. Throw a sandwich anywhere. Just throw a sandwich.
An occupation led by Trump. And you had that video that went viral the other day of somebody, I believe he actually worked for the DOJ. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, guys. Maybe that was a different case, but I think he worked for the DOJ. You had one of these like Trump Gestapo thugs trying to arrest him or trying to like stop him or something, and the guy was holding a sandwich. He threw the sandwich at the officer and then ran away. And so eventually they caught him, and they were going to charge him with felony assault. And apparently they took one look at him and they were like, we're not even giving you an indictment, dog. We're not even giving you an indictment. So that's Washington, D.C., one of the most liberal places in the country, going, fuck yourself. This is a massive fuck you to Trump.
Fuck you.
That's what this is. This is a massive fuck you to the fascist regime that's trying to do a hostile takeover of D.C. So they looked at this guy who threw a sandwich at an officer and said, really? Felony assault? Really? They didn't even get an indictment. And for those of you who don't know, there's an old saying that you can indict a ham sandwich. A good prosecutor can indict a ham sandwich. But the federal prosecutors couldn't even indict this guy. Why? Because they overreached, and people in D.C. don't want the federal government there like they are. So that's really funny stuff that they couldn't get it. Now, maybe they'll get him on a misdemeanor or some shit. Who knows? But this was a massive rebuke of Trump and the fascist takeover of D.C., and I absolutely love it. And then I also had this for some breaking news here. This actually came out last night. But there's a Democrat by the name of Catelyn Dre, and she flipped the Iowa's first district, I guess. Yeah, I think Iowa SD won. A district Trump won by 11.5 points in 2024. And she defeated Republican Christopher Proch in a landslide special election. And because of that, she now broke the Iowa Republican supermajority. So that's a big deal. That's a big deal. So again, this was a Trump plus 11.5 district in 2024. So you want to know what she won by? It was double digits for her win. So a massive, massive sea change.
Bro, it's so hot.
A harbinger of things to come, because this isn't even like, as I pointed out.
I think the Democrats are going to sweep in the next elections. Even I know the Democratic Party is trash and nobody likes them, but I think they're going to win by default. But hopefully we can keep electing more leftists and pushing them in there and replacing the centrist, corporatist, shitbag, Zionist, war crime supporting asshole politicians. I'm sorry. We got to replace those guys.
Going up, a rebuke of the trade war, a rebuke of the insane foreign policy, randomly bombing Iran, threatening Venezuela, now threatening war with Mexico, arming and funding a genocide in Gaza. This is a rebuke of the insane immigration policy, ruining people's lives, sending them to concentration camps. So, again, Trump won it by 11.5 points, and now Catelyn Dre, the Democrat, won her race by double digits. So it went from a landslide in one direction to a landslide in the other direction. So that is incredible news. But now, I wanted to show you guys what went down with Trump now becoming more honest. He's becoming more honest when it comes to his intentions, right? Is that because he's getting more senile, he's older, he's running out of time? We can debate the reasons why he's becoming more honest. But he's becoming more honest, and now he's got this new line that he's added to his repertoire that he wants people to know. And you guys know all of Trump's tricks, right? One of Trump's tricks is when he wants to say something without saying it,
He says,
goes,
people are saying this. I heard people saying this about me. People are saying they want me to do this.
Many people are saying this.
What a
It's
dumb
his way
fuck.
of, like,
Yeah.
leaving himself wiggle room and plausible deniability, but he's actually saying the thing that he wants to say, right? So the other day, he comes out and says the following. This should be a wake-up call to a lot of people who were maybe on the fence. If there was anybody left on the fence, this should be a cold glass of water right in your face. Watch this.
But then he goes on television and says, "Oh, Trump is a dictator. He's a dictator." And a lot
Yeah,
of
you
people
are.
So the line is that I'm a dictator, but I stop crime. So a lot of
You
people-
don't stop crime. You stop innocent people. I mean, unless you classify all immigrants as crime, which is not true. You racist, bigot, piece of shit.
So the line is that I'm a dictator, but I stop crime.
You don't stop crime.
lot of
You
people say,
are a
"Oh,
crime.
that's the case
You
of
are
Trump."
literally a walking crime. That's literally what you are, Trump. You are a walking fucking crime.
That I'm a dictator, but I stop crime. So a lot of people say, if that's the case, I'd rather have a dictator. But I'm not a dictator. I just know how to stop crime.
Many people are saying, well, then I'd rather have a dictator.
He wants to be like Bukele from El Salvador. Bukele basically cleared up crime, but he did become he is a dictator. Like, he is authoritarian, but he did clear up, but he's working with crime. He's working with criminals, with gangs, certain gangs, to put away the other gangs. So he's not really clearing up crime. He's just clearing up certain gangs that aren't the ones affiliated with him. Like, what?
It wasn't even the first time he said it. Here's the day before in the Oval Office. He says the same thing. Listen to this.
And they say, we don't need him. Freedom, freedom. He's a dictator. He's a dictator. A lot of people are saying maybe we like a dictator.
This is very, very intentional. Very intentional.
He wants to be a dictator, y'all. He literally wants to be a dictator.
Is him saying, I want to be a dictator. And I will hide it under the guise of other people are saying they want me to be a dictator. Why? Because he goes, well, I stopped crime. That's why. This dude pardoned rapists and cop assaulters. 1,200 January 6ers. Hundreds of them violent criminals. They're literally doing pay-to-play to let every white-collar criminal off the hook.
Mm-hmm.
People running fucking pyramid schemes. People doing massive fraud schemes. We're talking the worst of the worst white-collar thugs.
I could do some fucking crazy. I could rob a bank. I could do some crazy crime. Pay this motherfucker millions of dollars, and I'll be good. I'll be free.
People ruining their lives. Trump has a pay-to-play operation to pardon them. And you're going to talk. You're in the fucking Epstein files, and you're going to talk to us about where I'm tough on crime. I'm tough on crime. So that's why people want me to be a dictator. Wow. And it's so amazing that these are the same people who pretend like they're in favor of the Constitution and they love the Constitution and they're all about the Constitution. And then at the same time, their leader comes out and says this. Did you guys see this one? Watch this one.
I would have much more respect for Pritzker if he'd call me up and say, I have a problem. Can you help me fix it? I would be so happy to do it. I don't love, not that I don't have the right to do anything I want to do. I'm the president of the United States. If I think our country
You don't have the right to do anything you want to do, you fucking loser.
is in danger, and it is in danger in these cities, I can do it. No problem going in and solving, his difficulties. But it would be nice if they'd call and they'd say, would you do it?
So he said, quote, I have the right to do anything I want to do.
Not
I'm the
true.
president of the United States. That's what he said.
He just lies about everything, bro. This guy needs to get shot. I'm sorry. Someone has to do it. I ain't gonna do nothing.
So the Constitution-loving conservative Republicans hear that and they go, yeah. That is like the exact opposite
Someone has to Minecraft
of the Constitution. No, you don't have the right to do whatever you want to do. You made that up. What we have in this country are checks and balances. We have separation of powers. We have the Constitution, which restricts the federal government. And he just blows right through it. Goes full fascist, authoritarian dictator, and his people fucking love it. This quote from Trump should have immediately reminded you of this one from Richard Nixon. And this was viewed as like a holy shit moment. This was viewed as like a, no way this dumbass just said that. This is the worst thing I've ever seen. Listen to what he said.
Well, when the president does it, that means that it is not illegal.
by definition.
No, you don't
That was
fuck.
viewed as like, that's the least American shit I've ever heard in my life. That is completely inexcusable. That is completely unforgivable. That's how that was viewed. Trump, again, quote, I have the right to do anything I want to do. I'm the president of the United States. That is not at all how it works. All right, we also have this. George Soros and his wonderful radical left son should be charged with RICO because of their support of violent protests and much more all throughout the United States of America. We're not going to allow these lunatics to rip apart America anymore, never giving it so much as a chance to breathe and be free. Soros and his group of psychopaths have caused great damage to our country. That includes his crazy...
Why are you attacking Soros, the Jewish guy? Like, what the fuck?
Free. Soros and his group of psychopaths have caused great damage to our country. That includes his crazy...
This is the guy fighting against anti-Semitism in America? Really? This guy? This fucking fascist piece of shit Nazi? This guy's fighting anti-Semitism in America? He is the anti-Semite, you dumb fucks. Jesus Christ.
Close friends. Be careful. We're watching you. Thank you for your attention to this matter. As Ed Krasenstein says here, Trump is now threatening to go after those who fund organizations who arrange protests, such as George Soros. If this isn't fascism, I don't know what is. He will go after anyone who dissents. It's what Stalin and Hitler did.
Yep.
So, yeah, understand what the move is here. If they claim that,
bro, we're fucked.
hey, this is like terrorist funding to undermine America, to stealth infiltrate America, so any sort of like organized protest is inauthentic behavior and it's fraudulent and it's material support for terrorists. They find some sort of legal framework to say the funding of this or the organization of this is the illegal part. So in other words, well, the protesting itself is not illegal, but the way that you ended up protesting, the organization process, who was behind it, who was pulling the strings, etc., that part is illegal. It's a way to try to stealth ban protests. Do you understand that? And then it becomes, if you're any person doing any semblance of organization for a protest, they'll look at that and go, that's illegal. Well, guess what? That would criminally ban all protests because every protest involves organization. What are you going to fucking use telepathy to let people know where the protest is and, how many people are going to show up and what the purpose of the protest is? No, you need these things to be organized. Well, what if they go after all the organizers and they come up with some bullshit concoction about, well, it was funded by Soros and it was to undermine America and the funding came from Iran and that's illegal. Like, this is what they're going to do. This is what they're going to do. In fact, the illegal invasion that Trump is doing of all the blue cities, that's part and parcel of this strategy here.
Yep.
It's let me get people in blue cities and blue areas used to having the National Guard there, having the U.S. military there, and the whole point is intimidation. And if you're used to it during peacetime, imagine when the election rolls around, what he's going to do with this power. I mean, we've never been up Schitt's Creek this aggressively in modern American history. We never have. We never have. And then we got this, which would scare the shit out of you. Should Trump run again in 2028 for president? Among Republican voters, 53% say yes, 44% say no. So let me ask you a question.
This is a fucking cult. It's a cult.
Trump were to say, oh, the country's now at war, so just like Zelensky in Ukraine, I'm going to cancel the election because I have a right to stay in if a war's going on. If Trump does that, what percentage of the Republican base do you think would be on board with it? Well, if this poll is any indication, you're probably going to have at least half the Republican base go, right on. I got no problem with that whatsoever, bro. I got no problem with that whatsoever. Every day, he escalates more, see what he can get away with, and there's just not nearly enough pushback. And the fact of the matter is, the institutions are already completely captured, right? Like, he has surrounded himself with the biggest sycophants of all time. So these are the people who are going to keep Trump in check when he does something illegal, when he does something unconstitutional, when he overreaches. Listen to this. This was at the White House meeting yesterday with the press there. Watch this.
If you all haven't stopped by the Department of Labor, Mr. President, I invite you to see your big, beautiful face.
I want to suck your dick, Mr. President. No, I want to suck your dick. No, I want to suck your dick. No, I want to suck his dick. No, I want to suck his dick. Stop it. No, me, man. I want to suck his dick.
I tell it to everybody, and I really do feel that way, and I thank you. You have breathed life back into the profession of law enforcement. Your respect for law enforcement is so incredible. It's making a difference.
This is just such a great opportunity, really, to recognize your leadership as a true champion for working people. Well, everyone knows there's no stronger advocate for hardworking American families than you.
Well, Mr. President, first of all, thank you for the opportunity to work for you.
Our country has never been so secure thanks to you. You have brought us back from the edge. And there's only one thing I wish for, that noble committee finally gets its...
Can we play this shit? Let's play this again, bro.
Making a different life back.
When he does something illegal, when he does something unconstitutional, when he overreaches. Listen to this. This was at the White House meeting yesterday with the press there. Watch this.
If you all haven't stopped by the Department of Labor, Mr. President, I invite you to see your big, beautiful face on a
This is how I feel watching this shit.
because you are really the transformational president of the American worker, along with the American flag and President Roosevelt.
Working for this government, for you, is the greatest honor of my life. I tell it to everybody, and I really just feel that way, and I thank you. You have breathed life back into the profession of law enforcement. Your respect for law
Bro, what the
enforcement
fuck is going on with this country, dude?
Recognize your leadership as a true champion for
We're
working people.
cooked.
Well, everyone
We're
knows there's no
cooked.
stronger advocate for hardworking American families than you.
Mr. President, first of all, thank you for the opportunity to work for you.
Our country has never been so secure thanks to you.
This
You
country's
have brought us
fucked,
back
dude.
from
This
the edge.
country's
There's only one thing
fucked.
I wish for, that noble committee finally gets its act together and realizes that you are the single finest candidate since this Nobel Award was ever talked about to receive that reward.
It's pretty great to celebrate Labor Day with Builder, who loves labor. The great Trump projects have come from the very men and women we're going into this weekend to celebrate.
Thank you for saving college football, by the way. We're all very grateful.
As I said, they have to treat this man like he's a toddler using the potty for the first time. Do you think anybody at that table, when Trump decides he's going to do his next illegal, unconstitutional thing, you think any of them are going to say, "Sir, this has gone too far. Let me break with you"? No. They've all been neutered.
They're all fucking brainwashed, fucking nutsuckers.
They've all been castrated. They've all killed whatever strands of humanity and principles and values and virtues, whatever strand of that remained internally for these people. They killed it off. They sold their soul to get the important position, the big title, the big profession. I get to go down as Secretary of Labor, says one of these douchebags. Or Secretary of Transportation, says Sean Duffy, the former MTV douchebag. Right? None of these people give a fuck. And he's already crossed 1,000. He opened up a concentration camp in the Everglades, bro.
Yeah.
He opened
I
up.
told my cousin that like a few days ago. Like he literally opened a fucking concentration camp around alligators. Because they wanted that to be the theme of it. Like, oh, if you run away, you get eaten by alligators. Oh, isn't that scary?
Alligator Auschwitz, dog. Like, once you cross that line where you're building concentration camps and you're sending people to gulags overseas in El Salvador, you think there's any brakes on the car? There's no brakes on the car. And so we are in a horrible, horrible position. We really are. And now he's floating even, like, most dictators are smart enough to never, like, utter the word dictator or hint that they are a dictator. There's this veneer of, no, this is serious, this is democratic, I have the support of the people, etc. But this fucking dipshit is out there going, many people are saying, some people are saying, beautiful.
He's like a Timu dictator. Trump is literally like a Timu dictator, like a fucking Alibaba dictator, like some cheap ass ripoff, dictator. Some fucking, what's that meme from Rick and Morty? There's like a Mr. Meeseeks, and then the other one's like a fucking what is it, Carhartt or some shit, like a fucking shit. What is that one ripoff brand, bro? It's like a ripoff brand. Yeah, that's literally what he is, bro. He's like a fucking shitty ripoff brand dictator. He's like trash.
The other day he said this. These wonderful, beautiful African-American ladies are saying, well, maybe we'd like a dictator. Maybe we'd like a dictator. The whole crime bullshit. Like, crime was down 30% in D.C. He's not even sending his Gestapo storms.
Crime has been down since COVID, and crime has been down since we stopped using lead in the fucking gasoline, like dickheads.
Troops into the places that are high crime areas. He's not even doing that. These motherfuckers are standing around the Krispy Kreme at Union Station. I'm not kidding. So from top to bottom, every part of this is fucking absurd. And we're being run. The thing is, it's authoritarian, it's fascist, it's scary. He wants to be a dictator, but it's also so fucking clownish.
Yeah.
It's so incompetent. First of all,
it's like
he's
sad.
7.5 minutes from having a massive heart attack, right? He paints his face orange every single morning. He looks like he's dying. His hands are so bruised, it looks like it's like molding or something. Looks like it's about to fall off, like he's got gangrene or some shit, right? He's surrounded by alcoholic rapists like Pete Hegseth and idiots like Howard Lutnick. And, like, these are the ones running the country, running the world, for that matter. These are the people The fucking guy who was the host of The Apprentice is running the country and doing a speed run towards a fascist dictatorship.
We're fucked,
and we're all
dude.
sitting here like fucking bumps on a log with our thumbs up our asses.
Someone's
like,
gotta do it,
okay,
bro.
I guess that's what's happening. Like, what the hell, bro? What the hell? So,
We're so
very
fucked.
disturbing stuff. Very, very disturbing stuff. And,
I don't know what else to say to that. Like, we're just cooked, y'all. Here's Bernie fighting out there, doing what's right. I think I'm gonna end it here, y'all. I think, yeah. Should we check this AI stock bubble shit? Sounds kind of interesting. I don't know. But anyways, I'll see you guys later. I love you guys so much. Take it easy. Remember, fight fascism. Fuck Nazis. Prepare yourselves and help your neighbors. That's all we have, our community. So I love you guys. I'll try to be back tomorrow. I think I'm doing pretty good with this daily stream shit. If you guys can, subscribe, follow, share this shit with your friends and family. I love you guys so much. Bye-bye.
Oh, the greatest country in the world.
All of the countries I and my little girls grew up. Number one exporter, sugar. All of the countries have inferior sugar. Cuba, home of famous cigar. It's started by capitalists all around the world. Cuba, Cuba, a very nice place. From the hills of Guantanamo to southern Havana. Cuba, friend of all except America. They bury no